given the potential disruption this week to Aer Lingus passengers across the week from that industrial action starting on Wednesday with a work to rule and an 8-hour stoppage on Saturday, let's get the latest as to whether there's any hope for passengers from Eoghan Corry, travel commentator, who joins us as well. Eoghan, any prospect of talks today or tomorrow?
Yeah, we hear there's something rumbling away and a lot of very hard-nosed rhetoric at the weekend. I would expect both sides will be looking at how to get things started behind closed doors. I think that there's probably not a lot more IALPA will achieve in the short term. They have a work to rule set to come in on Wednesday, a stoppage coming in on Saturday. They've dominated the news and they have scared the pants off passengers. What is interesting is there'll be a very clear choreography for when they get talks going. It'll be horse trading, as industrial relations always is. It'll tend probably go in the direction that Aer Lingus will offer them a little bit more pay, and they'll look at the crewing agreement. But the choreography of getting the talk started is a lot more complicated. Who's going to move first without losing face, Ian?
Given the amount of flights already cancelled, 35,000 passengers have been informed, given that the airline has already made alternative arrangements, is there anything that could change that? Is there anything that could happen over the next couple of days to ease some of that pressure?
Yeah, there's a sort of a spirit of non-cooperation. The work to rule hasn't even started, but the spirit of non-cooperation that we saw even Sunday with the power outage in Manchester has continued to make things worse and makes things worse for passengers. We could see something drive a full-scale stoppage. A very simple incident. You know, when things are low, and tensions are high, something very, very small could create further problems. Will IALPA be happy with the work to rule and the one-day stoppage? Some people are saying that they'll probably go for another series of stoppages to ratchet up the pressure on Aer Lingus, and that's what it's all about. It's trying to make Aer Lingus miserable over the next month at the busiest time of the year, and you don't make Aer Lingus miserable without making the passengers miserable. But I would be hopeful because, and the reason I'm hopeful, Ian, is that aviation is full of industrial disputes. Like WestJet's mechanics last week, the security staff in Toronto, the big pilot strike in South Scandinavian 2 years ago before the pandemic, Lufthansa, and very often there isn't a lot of hope at the start of it. These guys have a lot to talk about. There are 26, it's a complicated pay structure, 26 different grades of pilots, and Rubik's Cube of allowances, all over the years, signed with the different agreements signed over the years. And then there's the famous crewing agreement, which I think Aer Lingus management have feels that they probably gave away too much on at the time. So all of that is there, gives loads for them to talk about. I don't think there'll be a quick resolution. I think it'll be long talks that go on through the day, through the night, plates of sandwiches up to the room, that stuff, and eventually they all emerge blinking into the sunlight with an agreement signed at 4 a.m. that the public knows very little about the detail about, because it's quite clear it's not just that simple pay issue that it's being presented by with 9% interim Labour Court recommendation.
Given that Aer Lingus have cancelled just over 10% of flights for the work to rule, and we know what they've done as well for on Saturday, is that enough to prevent people getting stranded at airports outside of Ireland? Will they have enough people available on the day of the work to rule to make sure people get home?
Yeah, the work to rule makes the flexibility, adds extra uncertainty. You don't want uncertainty at the gate, though, Ian. You want to be able to tell people the day before the flight has been rearranged. 200 flights that have been cancelled are not a loss. When you think of what happened in April with the French air traffic control strike, with 36 flights from Dublin, which is basically what you get cancelled. We've had seen cancelled with the work to rule. 300 flights lost by Ryanair. Another French air traffic control strike would have more devastation. The power outage in Manchester, which was nothing to do with industrial relations, on Sunday caused an immense amount of cancellations. Aviation is good at recovering It sounds a lot from the passengers, but aviation is good at dealing, even at peak season, with a lot of displaced passengers, a lot of people missing connections, getting them to where they're supposed to be. They tend to do it within 24 or 48 hours, and very often on the same day. It's the nature of the industry. Weather events and industrial relations disrupt. Aer Lingus disruptions aren't a lot at the moment, but it could get worse before it gets better.